Hi, and welcome back to my channel, Rachel's What Works For Me. This is a YouTube channel where I talk about the things that work for me, the things I've learned throughout my life, financially, spiritually, physically, just daily practices. And I use this as an outlet to share that information in case it helps anyone. So today we're still on the track of what works for me financially, and this is about working through the Dave Ramsey baby steps. Obviously, Dave Ramsey isn't the only program that works for people, but it's what worked for my husband and I and the plan that we're currently still on. In today's episode, we'll talk about baby step 3, which is saving your emergency fund. So as a quick review, baby step 1 was saving $1,000 in cash. That's designed to give you some momentum, prove to you that you can accomplish your financial goals, and give you a little bit of a buffer so you don't keep adding to your debt. Baby step 2 is about paying off your debt using the snowball method, meaning you write down all your debts from smallest to largest. You pay all the minimum payments on everything but the one you're focused on, and you use the payments as you pay off your smallest debt to snowball into the next debt. And so by your final debt, you're paying your biggest payments to be able to work through all of that. Baby step 3 is about saving a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. So, because through this process, you've been working on a budget from month to month, you now know what it costs for you to live every month. And so that amount, either times 3, maybe 4, 5, or 6, is the amount that you want to save for your emergency fund. And this is a really fun part of the process because this is when extra money is now yours. In baby steps 1 and 2, extra money that you got was either to create a buffer or paid to debtor or paid to people that you owed debts to. Now, with the emergency fund, any extra money you have, whether you are spending less than you're making, so you have extra money out of your paychecks, you get bonuses, you get gifts, all of that, that's now yours, and you're going to use it to eliminate more and more risk out of your life and set you up a buffer so that you have a safety net in case anything happens, in case you have a new baby, you lose your job, you get hurt, you get sick, you want to relocate to be closer to family. You now have, after you've completed baby step 3, a savings account of 3 to 6 months worth of the money it takes you to live. So if you need to not work or your income changes, you now have that buffer, and with confidence, you know that you have a runway of 3 to 6 months where your living expenses are taken care of. There are a couple of benefits to this besides just having a nice chunky savings account. One, it's what I refer to as walkout money. If you have that in the back of your mind and you're in a job or a situation that you really don't like, you can walk out because you have the safety of that emergency fund there. You have the financial support that you need to make the choices that you want for the life that you're trying to lead. So it's a great way to remove the risk of having to stay in a situation, whether that's work, whether that's personal, whether that's family, whether that's living in a neighborhood or whatever, that you now can make different decisions for because you have the emergency fund. A couple of things to consider. It can be the first time, it certainly was for me, the first time that you have that amount of money in a savings account. And which the baby steps will walk you through a practice of discipline, so you'll gain that discipline where just because you see the money doesn't mean you feel like you can spend it. In fact, on a lot of the social media pages, I've seen these memes that say I've got $50 in my checking account and $30,000 in my emergency fund. I'm broke, because that money is not day-to-day spending money. It takes discipline. So there's a couple of tricks that you can do to help you not chip away at your emergency fund once you have it saved. We put our emergency fund in a savings account in a bank that we don't use regularly. We didn't have a debit card tied to the account. We would have physically had to go to the bank to withdraw money out of that account. So it helped us not have easy access to it so that it was used properly for emergencies. It can also be used if something is an emergency. If your car breaks down and it can't be repaired and you need a new car, you can use that money out of the emergency fund because you need reliable transportation. The thing is, you want to build it back to its 3 to 6 month value, whatever you've decided, as quickly as possible, so that it's not a money that you spend, it's more of an insurance policy that you are funding yourself against anything that might happen. Another thing that you can do with that money, since it's not something that you'll need or want to be accessing on a regular basis, is put it in a money market fund or a money market account that will allow it to earn a little bit more interest than in just a traditional savings account. And since you're not gonna be getting it out or using it, regularly, it can just sit there and grow value. But it's important to know the difference. This is not an investment. Investments come later. This is an insurance plan that you're funding for yourself to protect you against risk. The risk of having to stay in a bad job or a job you don't like, the risk of having to stay in an apartment or house where you're not comfortable, having to stay in a city you don't want to be in, having to stay in a relationship you don't want to be in. The emergency fund is really designed to create a barrier of protection around you from financial situations that you wouldn't have been able to deal with as easily before. And it's really satisfying to see it there and grow. It's very satisfying to know that things can happen that you're not expecting, emergencies, and you now have the funds to take care of it. So I think baby step 3 is where this financial plan really starts to get exciting. My husband and I decided to save about 5 months worth of expenses. And I would say that it's expenses that you want to keep. So certainly what it actually costs just to live, shelter, food, clothes, utilities, all of that, you want to have that covered for sure. But if you've gotten in your budget where you're spending, you have something in your budget for a manicure, pedicure every month, I would add that in my emergency fund value, so that if you ever get into that situation, all of the things that you're used to doing are funded. But that's just the approach we took. We took our full budget with everything that we have and saved 5 times that in an account so that we have that when and if we ever need it. We have dipped into our emergency fund once since 2019. I don't remember specifically what we did, but I could look back through my budget and see. But we filled it back up and it sits steadily at its 5-month value. And if we ever decided we wanted to fatten it up, we could, but we moved on once we hit that mark to other financial goals. So that was a conversation of baby step 3 in the Dave Ramsey baby step program. Quick review: baby step 1 is save $1,000. Baby step 2 is pay off your commercial debt, so that's all debt but your house or mortgage. And then baby step 3 is saving 3 to 6 months of expenses, what your budget says it costs you to live, into a savings account so that you can protect yourself from anything. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode next Monday.